Battlestar Galactica is this wonderful character drama based in sci-fi setting. Did you expect the show to be that way? Not so much tech stuff, but rather criticism and politics and human emotion, basically?
Yeah, the thing that drew me to the show was the fact that it wasn't gimmicky. It was based on human drama. It was based on relationships and these really devastating circumstances. So it's a drama set in space. It's a human drama set in space.
And as for Ellen, what did you think about her? She wasn't really a bad person, but some kind of self-serving sometimes.
Sure.
What did you think about her?
That's a good question, because Ellen, I never played her to be, she's always classified as a bitch. And I think that's an extremely limited point of view of who this woman was, because she was a civilian stuck on a ship. She didn't have a job, and she virtually didn't have her husband. She was in competition with Adama. She was in competition with the ship. She was really low down on his list of priorities, and it devastated her, and she was lonely, and she was incredibly smart, and not that mature, and would just stir up trouble to get attention, as opposed to, kind of taking the higher road, trying to work something out with Saul. That was never their relationship. And then you throw in alcohol, and bad behavior ensued. But that sort of role was incredibly delicious to play. Mm-hmm. And in her heart, Ellen was deeply in love with her husband, and all she wanted was her man. Yeah. So she did everything she could to get him, even if it looked wrong. She'd take the long way there to get him.
Right. And when you found out about her death in season 3, what did you think about Saul's decision to do this step that he had to do, and was that difficult to play?
It was terribly difficult to play, there was, on one hand, he was a spineless man for abandoning her after what she'd done to save his life, and it was devastating to her. But she also knew his fragility and knew he could not spare her. She knew that if he tried and we picked up and ran, the insurgents would take us down. It was really, there was no win for either of us. He had to poison me. And my choice as an actress was to take the cup from him. As much as I wanted him to spill it and run and all of that, I chose to take the cup from him. I didn't talk to the director or Ron Moore about this at all. It was more of a character choice, to remove that act from him giving me the poison to me taking it and bringing it on myself. And that act was, I felt incredibly generous for Ellen to spare him that segment of guilt. I mean, the man was racked with guilt afterwards, but at least I didn't let him give it to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And can you relate to the dilemma most of the characters were in at some point or another, struggling between the orders they were given, the military orders, and their own moral beliefs?
Well, I don't live in a military society, so no. I mean, there are rules to follow that seem to work in this world. Be nice to one another, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's all good stuff. So, not having a military mind in any way whatsoever, I think, for me to relate, since she was a civilian anyway, but for me to relate to, duty before family, that I don't get. I don't get that at all. I don't get that at all. Like, that's like a what? No. because I'm a mother, and nothing comes before my daughter. So that's my military. It's my daughter, you know, protecting my daughter. So that's my perspective. But I don't mean any disrespect towards anyone in the military. That's their training, and that's their thinking, and that's their commitment, you know, and that's their experience. It's not mine.
Last year at FedCon, Aaron Douglas and Candice McClure talked about how Battlestar Galactica affected their lives. Do you think, or has the show some impact on your life, or had the show some?
I think, you know, the incredible impact of the show is that it was set in the future, but not so far in the distant future that it was very relatable, which made it really palpable to experience, and the possibility of this whole thing happening to us was very, very real, because they laced in these current events into the stories, and it was like, whoa, you know, the suicide bombings and the, you know, the cloning farms, and just like, you know, I don't know, just so many themes. So it really provoked a lot of powerful, deep thinking about what, you know, what would really happen to us if this, or what would happen to me if I were in these circumstances. And then it would come back to me as an actress making these choices as a civilian. You know, so it was a lovely sort of figure eight of energy and thought and questions and ideas moving back and forth, and just made me very grateful for what we have today, the freedoms we have today, and yeah.
You were also in the cult movie Pretty in Pink. Is there anything particular you remember from that movie or doing that movie?
It was such a long time ago.
What was Andrew McCarthy like?
I've just done another movie with him a couple summers ago too. He was sweet. Everybody was really sweet. Everybody was really, 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 really sweet, and a lot younger than James Spader and I. We were really old playing teenagers. Okay. I think he and I are the same age, and we were at least 6 years older, 7 years older than everybody else. It was quite wild. Playing younger. You know, John Hughes was very, very dear and very funny and soft and kind, and Howie Deutsch was just lovely and like kind of wild and manic and really, really cool director. Molly was very, very sweet. Everybody was incredibly professional. John Cryer. Big crush on John Cryer. Ducky? Come on. I mean, he was insane and so talented, and still is. So it was terrific. Everybody was great.
Okay. And if you could put together an entire crew for a movie or a show, who would be the director, who would write the script, and who would be the main characters, or the main actors?
No, not fair. No, I'd have to combine all my directors from Battlestar and all the writers from Battlestar. I just have to, these guys, and Jane Epson, the writer Jane Epson, I'm completely stumbling on your name, Jane, I'm sorry. Just brilliant, you know, just like incredibly gifted. Michael Lincoln, Michael Reimer, Eddie almost directed the episode. There were so many Michaels, all the Michael writers, the Bradleys, the Davids, and the actors. I would have no idea. I would just, you know what I would do? Is just continue with Battlestar Galactica. Pick up on the planet where everybody's sort of scattered and went their own way, and then action. I'd like it to continue. That would be fun.
Great.